Welcome back. I'm Allison Cossack. More now on our top story this hour. Explosions and air raid sirens are being heard all across Ukraine in what Ukrainian officials say is a massive missile attack from Russia. In cities throughout Ukraine, air defense systems have been activated. Officials say Russia launched at least 120 missiles at Ukraine, targeting essentially every major metropolitan area. Ukraine's Air Force says Russia is attacking from various directions, with cruise missiles launched from the air and sea. In Odessa, energy providers have implemented emergency power outages to avoid significant damage if the facilities are hit. CNN's Clarissa was among the team of correspondents in Ukraine when she witnessed the opening salvos of the Russian invasion. Now, as the year draws to a close, she looks back at those harrowing early days of the conflict when it appeared Moscow might actually topple Ukraine's leadership.
Once we had a sense that the invasion was imminent, we made the decision to try to drive to Kharkiv because it is a city that is very close to the Russian border. There had been a lot of troop buildup just beyond that border. We were getting ready to go to bed when I noticed on Twitter that President Putin was speaking again, which is very unusual at that hour of the night.
A decision has been made, a special military operation.
And so we all rushed up onto the roof, and sure enough, moments later, we could hear explosions across the night sky.
It's been a few minutes now. We have been hearing a steady stream of loud strikes. It's not clear exactly what they are targeting.
And it wasn't just in the city of Kharkiv where we were, but in cities across the country, which I think had not been anticipated, particularly in the capital of Kyiv. On the very first day of the war, we saw people flooding into metro stations in Kharkiv carrying all the belongings that they had or could possibly grab with them.
This is an actual subway car here, and if we can pan in, you can see dozens of people are squashed in. They're sitting on the seats there in the dark. There are children here.
One of the really iconic moments for us that we will never forget was the scene on the bridge from the Kyiv suburb of Irpin.
There has been a steady barrage of artillery since we got here just over an hour ago, and a never-ending stream of people just desperately trying to cross to safety.
President Putin has said his army is not targeting civilians, but the exodus from Irpin tells a different story. Everyone steps in where they can, including us.
We saw people who were clearly traumatized, who were confused, who were discombobulated. There were many elderly people, people who were living alone. They were carrying their pets, they were carrying babies. And we stood there and watched this scene unfold. And you do feel, as a journalist, a little bit impotent in that moment, because beyond wanting to tell their story, you wish there was more that you could do to help these people.
Hands off Ukraine! Hands off Ukraine!
Within Western liberal democracies, there was outrage, anger, and a broad determination to try to respond strongly and in unity.
This war will be a strategic failure for Putin. When we act together, we're stronger and we really can make a difference.
China, India, the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, other countries had a slightly different perspective on Russia's invasion. They were less willing to condemn it. President Putin made it very clear that he viewed the situation in Ukraine as an existential threat to Russia. The fact that they were so focused on Kyiv, the capital, I think made it clear that for President Putin, nothing less than regime change in Ukraine was going to satisfy him.
According to our information, the enemy has marked me as target number 1. My family is target number 2. They want to destroy Ukraine politically by destroying the head of state.
I think there was initially a question as to how President Volodymyr Zelensky would meet the moment, as it were, because of his limited political experience, his background in show business. But what we saw very quickly was the metamorphosis of Zelensky into a wartime leader. He quickly made it known to the public that he was not going anywhere, that he was not going to try to leave the country. He was not even going to try to leave the capital of Kyiv. And he started posting these videos.
So I am here. We are not putting down arms. We will be defending our country because our weapon is truth. And our truth is that this is our land, our country, our children, and we will defend all of this.
They were made selfie style on his cell phone, just really capturing the sense of the moment. And so many people around the world were sort of transfixed by this incredible moment and the way in which President Zelensky met the moment. Nobody really knows how long this war will go on for. There are parties in Ukraine who have said that they believe that it could be over by next summer, but there are also those who say that you shouldn't discount President Vladimir Putin, for whom this has become sort of an existential quest. And while Russia may be really struggling on the battlefield, and it may be impossible for them to turn this around, I think there is also a sense that they understand that they cannot afford to lose. And so the question becomes, does this transform or degenerate into a stalemate, a protracted stalemate that could go on many months, if not years?